Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
Welcome to What's on Tap podcast.
So I brought two Founders beers.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of fun because we haven't had Founders in a while. And it used to be we got Founders on the shelves quite a bit.
Yep.
And now they don't come around here no more.
No. I needed to order these two from Beer Republic, a Netherlands web shop. And I'm a bit scared at the first one because it kind of flew out of the bottle.
It was just that excited to be drunk. It was like,
yeah, sure.
It was like, hey, you know what? I'm ready for you to be inside you. Let me enter you.
So the only thing I knew about this when I ordered it was I had never had it, and it's a Founders beer. So it is Velvet Rush, an imperial brown ale brewed with coffee, chocolate, vanilla extract, and milk sugar aged in bourbon barrels. But then we turned, so it's 11.1% ABV. But then we turn it around and we see that it's 2021 release.
I would say both of these are not new releases. They're a couple of years old. So it's amazing that you can still get them at the web shop. Quite honestly.
Yeah. When you smell it, it has a lot of milk sugar.
Yeah, but it also has a little bit of dust on that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a bottle aging, we'll call it.
It's a bit dusty. Let's try it.
So what was this again? This has coffee, chocolate, vanilla extract, and milk sugar in bourbon barrels.
Let's see if any of those adjuncts are left.
I would expect the bourbon barrels are probably still there. Well, milk sugar is still heavily present.
Yep. It is very dusty. There's a little bit of bourbon.
It tastes kind of like a milk chocolate, almost like a Bailey's Irish Cream, kind of really weak Bailey's Irish Cream.
You're right.
Because you get a little bit of the bourbon barrels, you get a lot of the vanilla, milk sugary kind of flavors, and there's a little bit of chocolate, and a little bit of coffee, which kind of are a muddled background note, which kind of give you that Bailey's Irish Cream altogether flavor, which isn't entirely unpleasant, but it is definitely not what this beer would have been. 3 years ago? So
No. This is likely a shadow of itself. Mm-hmm. It is drinkable. It has some nice elements that you can pick out.
Yeah.
But the core is broken.
Yeah. Mouthfeel is pretty thin, pretty little watery.
Yeah. Coffee almost gone.
Completely gone.
Yeah. Vanilla extract, not really.
No. Milk sugar is kind of making up for the vanilla part.
Yeah.
But it is a brown ale. These aren't meant to be, even at an imperial level of brown ale, these aren't meant to be long shelf life. This isn't, even though it's part of the barrel age series, it is not a cellar beer. It needs to be drunk fresh.
Yeah.
So you got this on a web shop.
Yeah.
They must have been blowing this out at a pretty good price.
Let me see.
Because there's no way they didn't buy this fresh to import. It's probably been in a box in the back of a warehouse somewhere for a minute, as they say, waiting to be sold.
I paid €5 for this.
That sounds about right.
It has to be. That's discounted.
Yeah, that's heavily discounted.
That's a fire sale price.
Yeah, this is probably about €12 when it came out, I would imagine. So this is we got to dump this because it's not getting any better.
What have I done, Stefan?
You know what? You brought two excellent examples of vintage aged beers and how maybe you shouldn't always cellar everything anymore.
Because the other one is going to be worse.
I don't know. The other one, so I've had the other one before back in 2021 when it was fresh. So let's just see what happens when we try it.
So the other one is Bottle Shop Series Nemesis, release number 1. Which is a barley wine style ale brewed with roasted malts, and it is from 2021.
Right. Well, it smells pretty good on the nose. It doesn't have.
You think so?
I think so. Well, by saying it smells good, it doesn't smell like wintergreen. It doesn't have a mintiness to it. So I'm kind of keeping that in the plus category.
I'm getting minty green from this. I'm scared.
Maybe a little bit. All right.
Cheers.
Let's try this out. Yep.
Dusty.
There's definitely gone into the minty green flavors.
That aftertaste is past its prime.
It is bitter, minty concoction. It's the worst of both worlds.
You want to know what I paid for this one?
€3.
€1.99.
Wow!
Wow! It barely covers taxes.
Yeah, they were really just like,
wow.
Some idiot's going to buy this at some point, so...
That is amazing.
I mean, for €1, what was it? €1.99?
€1.99. €2.
€2. It's a good buy.
I mean, it made it into an episode of What's on Tap podcast, one of the longest running beer podcasts, definitely in Sweden, maybe the world. Who knows? Someone would need to do a spreadsheet.
A multitude of flavors that melt on your tongue. I would say that is not what we're getting here.
It definitely melts on the tongue, but if that's good or bad...
This might be the first episode we've had where we don't rate either of the beers.
Of course I will rate them.
Okay, well, I mean, you rate them for your own sake, but on the show, I kind of feel like, I mean, these are two beers that are definitely broken, that are way past their prime, that should not, I mean, honestly, neither one of these should have ever sit on the shelf this long.
No.
I applaud you for buying them because, I mean, they're new ticks for you, so it's always a good thing. But it's just a shame that, I mean, maybe 10 years ago, I think cellaring a lot of beers would have been a really good idea. But, I mean, these days there's so many adjuncts and there's so much stuff going on with the beers that cellaring just does not make a lot of sense anymore.
I agree.
And I think these two are prime examples of why you should not be cellaring a lot of these beers. At least not for more than, like, maybe 2 years.
No. But going back to the Velvet Rush, it's slightly better now that I can compare it to the much more dead Nemesis. So I'll give the Velvet Rush a 3.25.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.25.
In comparison.
It's not horrible. It's drinkable. It's got a lot of comforting flavors, I would say. I don't think it's you can tell it's very much a shadow of what it probably was, maybe even 2 years ago. And then the
Nemesis, I'll give it 1.5.
I'll give it a 2.
Sure, 2, 1.5.
Yeah. I feel like it deserves a little bit more respect than that. And it's not the beer's fault that we're trying it at such a late stage in its life.
No, but it's rough.
But
barley wines are supposed to survive 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, true, but this one's definitely not surviving 3 years.
No. Okay, a 2. I'll try it again.
2 on both of these.
2 and a 3.25.
Well, I'm glad you brought them. It's a lot of fun to try, at the very least.
A little bit of archaeological digging, but not in my cellar this time, on European web shops.
Well, I think we've learned a very valuable lesson that not all that glitters is gold.
No. But is it Old Curmudgeon that is one of your favorites? Or is
Old Curmudgeon.
Backwards Bastard?
Backwards Bastard, I think.
Haven't we had Backwards Bastards with 3 years on its...
Yeah. Now, I've had some Backwards Bastards that have held up really, really well. But I think it's the style. It's very simple. It's an old ale that's barrel-aged, and that's it. There's no adjuncts. There's no extra flavors. And that, I think, when you're looking at a barrel series or a barrel-aged beer, if it's just the beer on barrels, you're going to have a better opportunity to have a pretty good aging process.
Yeah.
Once you start adding any kind of random adjuncts, especially coffee or
milk sugar,
chocolate. I mean, these things, they fade really, really fast. So two of them are going to fade really fast, and one of them is going to remain. And it's going to be whatever's the dominant flavor there. So sometimes it's coffee, sometimes it's the vanilla, sometimes it's the milk sugar. It's whatever the most dominant thing is. And everything else is just going to become a distant memory. So
it's true. So Backwards Bastards, which is just a bourbon barrel-aged old ale with no weird adjuncts, is going to hold up better. Yeah. But Nemesis has no adjuncts.
I know, which is weird. I would expect it to have been a better experience, but maybe it just because they're using just a bottle cap and there's no kind of cork or waxing or anything, it got a little oxidized.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of is it's just a little oxidized, and that's why it's coming off as this really minty green.
In my defense, I did send Stefan a picture of these two, and I wrote to him, I have an idea for the episode. How about these? And he said, sure, bring them. So this really is on him. It's really his fault. I am completely writing myself free of blame.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I would too. I would pass that buck.
Exactly. You don't blame me. That's the point.
No, I would also say it was my fault if I was you.
But let this be a lesson to people. Don't age weird styles like barley wine. Now, what a weird thing. I thought we were in for a treat, and we weren't.
It was a trick.
It was a trick, as in trick or treat. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, at least we tried, and it was fun, and I'm really glad you bought them, because we would never try them otherwise, whether they were fresh or 4 years old.
There's a Swedish saying that I keep hearing, but I can't translate it to English. It is better to hear the bow snap than to never pull it back in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out the meaning of that one, but...
better to try and fail than to never try at all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it up here then. You can find us online at What's on Tap Podcast, Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts, you can find What's on Tap. So until next time.
Avoid old men in alleyways who want to show you something, and avoid old beers on webshop shelves. And keep drinking, you dum-dums.